pretty ironic that I'm about to do a video on poetry and a lot of these poems are about nature and how beautiful it is, and I've been waiting for 5 minutes for this bird to stop obnoxiously chirping at my window. But you know what? It adds to the atmosphere. Let's just get started. So if you watched my recent wrap-up, you will know that I recently discovered the gorgeous Chris Riddell poetry collections. So last month I read Poems to Fall in Love With and Poems to Save the World With. And these are poetry collections with poems selected and illustrated by Chris Riddell. They are... I'm getting old. I'm just filming a video, give me 10 minutes. Okay, alright, see you soon. Love you. Bye. Bye. Oh god, now the neighbors are here. Please leave. I'm just gonna carry on. I gotta get over it. It's not that big a deal. They are the noisiest bin draggers. It's not recycling week. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Eye contact has been had. Oh god. What a chaotic start to what was supposed to be a relaxing video. I am so sorry. I don't even remember where I was. These beautiful collections are stunningly illustrated by Chris Riddell. He has hand-selected all of the poems in them, and there are some real gems in there. I think autumn is a perfect season for poetry. I may be biased because autumn is my favourite season. In autumn there are big, blustery, stormy days, and so often poetry can communicate these big, overwhelming emotions that we can't communicate through prose. Or like other autumn days, poetry can be delicate and soft and beautiful and like a warm hug and just so comforting, like falling autumn leaves. I'm getting so lyrical about this because I just love poetry. I don't know if that's coming through at all, but I'm just speaking crap because I love poetry and I wanted to share some of my favourites from these collections with you. So I'm going to start with Poems to Fall in Love With, which is the first of these collections that I read. I'll also insert the illustrations as we go because they're a big part of why I enjoy reading these poems so much. So the first poem I want to read is If You Are an Ancient Egyptian Pharaoh by Hera Lindsay Bird. I'd never heard of her poetry before, but this poem is so funny, and I think funny comedic poems are a really good way to get people that are a bit skeptical about poetry into poetry. Poetry doesn't have to be complicated and inaccessible. It can actually just be really funny and really sarky and just perfectly communicate an emotion in a really succinct and witty way, and this poem is a perfect example of that. So this is If You Are an Ancient Egyptian Pharaoh. I am carving dirty hieroglyphics into the wall of your tomb. If you are a dead French aristocrat, I am the suspicious circumstances surrounding your death. If you are a shape-shifting wizard, I am the shape you are shifting into. If you are a fast-moving cloud, I am an entire field of deer looking up. If you are a skeptical cop, I am a haunted fax machine. If you are a catapult, I am the medieval knight you are catapulting. I fly over the dark fields of my enemies, corkscrewing the dawn. This is what missing you feels like. Without you, I am just the suspicious circumstances surrounding nothing. Without you, I am just a regular medieval knight settling ongoing tenancy disputes and doing other knight-related activities, like dying thousands of years ago. I rise from the grave to lean like an ancient wind against your house, your roof a red eyelid closed against the sky. When I'm not with you, I am like a lonely wrestler with nobody to break chairs on. When you take off your clothes, the whole room darkens to light you, your nakedness a pale kite. I want to take you to the river that runs behind my house and show you where the dark water vanishes beneath the rocks. But I can't, because nothing runs behind my house, not even a lonely commercial highway. I want to stand with you on the edge of a lonely commercial highway, waiting for the jumper cables that will restart this engine and take us somewhere far beyond the confines of this poem. I need to have a reason for the aisles of trees we sailed through, and your hand on my knee in reckless disregard of road safety recommendations. I need to have a reason for so many nights of watching you recede from me, like the ass end of a horse in the credits of a western. I need to have a reason for drinking beer in your parents' swimming pool at night, and how you lay face down in the water like a body in a celestial crime scene. The stars so many knives in the small of your back. Now, I couldn't do this video without reading an extract from Romeo and Juliet. So in Poems Fall in Love With, there is an extract of Romeo and Juliet, obviously a very famous Shakespeare play that I am repping today. This movie is also fantastic. This is the Baz Luhrmann adaptation that everybody should watch if they have not already. Do yourself a favour, it's fantastic. And this is the extract. I'll do my best Romeo voice. God, this is so embarrassing. Okay. If I provoke... I need the perfect, like, himbo voice. If I profane with my unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle sin is this, my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss. Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which manly devotion shows in this, for saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss. Have saints not lips, and holy palmers too? Aye, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer. O then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair. Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake. Then move not, while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips, by thine, my sin is purged. Then have my lips the sin that they have took. Ow, my hip just clicked. Sin from my lips, O trespass sweetly urged, give me my sin again. You kiss by the book. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever done on this channel. You come here for book reviews and you get prime acting. That's what you get on this channel. The next poem is Wedding Thoughts, All I Know About Love, which is by Neil Gaiman, and he wrote this to read at a friend's wedding, I believe, and it is just a very beautiful poem. This is everything I have to tell you about love. Nothing. This is everything I've learned about marriage. Nothing. Only that the world out there is complicated, and there are beasts in the night, and delight and pain, and the only thing that makes it okay sometimes is to reach out a hand in the darkness and find another hand to squeeze, and not to be alone. It's not the kisses, or never just the kisses. It's what they mean. Somebody's got your back. Somebody knows your worst self and somehow doesn't want to rescue you, or send for the army to rescue them. It's not two broken halves becoming one. It's the light from a distant lighthouse bringing you both safely home, because home is wherever you both are together. So this is everything I have to tell you about love and marriage. Nothing. Like a book without pages or a forest without trees, because there are things you cannot know before you experience them, because no study can prepare you for the joys of the trials, because nobody else's love, nobody else's marriage is like yours, and it's a road you can only learn by walking it. A dance you cannot be taught, a song that did not exist before you began together to sing. And because in the darkness you will reach out a hand, not knowing for certain if someone else is even there, and your hands will meet, and then neither of you will ever need to be alone again. And that's all I know about love. The next poem is Love After Love by Derek Walcott. The time will come, then, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome. And say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. The last poem from the first collection is called Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. And it was made famous by the film Four Weddings and a Funeral, and if you've seen that film you'll know exactly where this poem is used, and it's very beautiful. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the pianos, and with muffled drum bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let aeroplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows round the white necks of the public doves, let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now, put out every one. Pack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood, for nothing now can ever come to any good. So sad. And after that heartbreaking one, we're going to move on to poems to save the world with. And these poems are a lot more political, a lot about nature and the planet and what we can do to look after the earth and how beautiful our earth is. And if, like me, you are panicked about the future of our climate, maybe buy this collection and then do some research on how we can save her, because she is in peril and it's very sad. The first poem I want to read is Wild Geese by Mary Oliver. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about despair, yours, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep trees, the mountains and the rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese, high in the clean blue air, are heading home again. Whoever you are, no matter how lonely, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over announcing your place in the family of things. The next poem is called A Word of Advice, and I love it, but I low-key hate it. It's by Libby Russell, and when I googled her afterwards, because I wanted to read more of her poetry, I found out that she had won the Young Foil Poet Awards, so she's kind of my age or younger. And that broke my heart a little bit, because this poem is so good and she's crazy talented. So that sucks for me. Here's the poem. Stop falling in love with people you could write poems about. Stop tripping over and drowning yourself in metaphors and obsessing over similes. Like your silly white shirt is clouding your judgment. Resist those with whom you can be Radcliffean. Fall in love with no one in any way Byronic, or those who may resemble in any sense the rose. Do not fall in love with someone who could drive you down a highway at night and make it feel like you are flying, dizzy on the vitality and the necessity and the kissing and the kissing and the kissing. Minimize the ways in which your love is Italian and ensure that it is in no way French. Just be a bit British about the whole thing. Avoid great passion. Keep your head. It cannot end in anything better than a rhyming couplet. Fall in love with someone who is prose at best. Somebody you could write an article about, a conversational, informational blog, someone fit for the BBC homepage on a Sunday, sticking to the facts with just a touch of emotion. Perhaps find someone with clammy palms, who you won't mind letting go. Someone who has kissing down to a fine art, by which I mean a neatly framed watercolour, firm pecs, you could call them sobering, lipless, polite, with just a touch of affection. Don't get used to kissing in Kandinsky colours. Find someone you can go grey with. Hurdle the white picket fence and tumble through the window of a semi-detached, onto the sofa next to a sensible choice, someone you could take home to your mother, someone you can sit with woodenly with a cat and a cup of tea, and songs of praise providing the soundtrack to your domestic tedium. Calm down, grow up, come to terms with the fact that a love like that just isn't for the likes of you. It belongs to other people, sealed away between the pages of an anthology. Think the nation's favourite love poems, stowed secretly, adulterously away at a nightstand. Life will be sufficient, and you'll get along just fine, because a tree grown in the dark can never miss the sun. Consider settling for someone you could live safely without, but please, stop falling in love with people you could write poems about. The next one is so relatable, I swear to God. It's called Serenity Prayer by Brian Bilston. Send me a slow news day, a quiet, subdued day, in which nothing much happens of note, save for the passing of time, the consumption of wine, and a rerun of Murder, She Wrote. Grant me a no news day, a spare me your views day, in which nothing much happens at all, except a few hours together, some regional weather, a day we can barely recall. The next poem is called The Raincoat by Ada Limon. When the doctor suggested surgery and a brace for all my youngest years, my parents scrambled to take me to massage therapy, deep tissue work, osteopathy, and soon my crooked spine unspooled a bit and I could breathe again, and move more in a body unclouded by pain. My mum would tell me to sing songs to her the whole 45-minute drive to Middle 2 Rock Road and 45 minutes back from physical therapy. She said that even my voice sounded unfettered by my spine afterwards, so I sang and sang because I thought she liked it. I never asked her what she gave up to drive me, or how her day was before this chore. Today, at her age, I was driving myself home from yet another spine appointment, singing along to some maudlin but solid song on the radio, and I saw a mum take her raincoat off and give it to her young daughter when a storm took over the afternoon. My God, I thought, my whole life I've been under her raincoat, thinking it was somehow a marvel that I never got wet. And the last poem is probably one of my favourites ever, and hopefully you'll see why in a minute when I shut up. It's called Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Life is short, though I keep this for my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways, and 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep for my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this for my children. For every bird there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible, and for every kind stranger there is one who would break you, though I keep this for my children. I am trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor, walking you through a real shithole, chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. Thank you for indulging me and letting me share a few of my favourite poems. I hope I've maybe inspired you to go out and either buy those collections or buy some collections by some of the poets featured in this video. I really love poetry. I'm really excited to get back into it. I haven't really read proper poetry since high school and I've really missed it. So hopefully I can maybe feature some more poetry on this channel, and let me know if you'd be interested in that. If not, don't worry, that's fine, it's not for everybody. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you soon with another one. Bye.